Hello and welcome to The Editor and the Alien. And tonight we have a very special show by request of no other than.
Elton Borges. Sorry. And yes, the show is starting now.
And this one is entitled Violence, Sex Appeal. Why do they go great together? Now, seeing that there are only two of you listening, other than our buddy Elton, who else is listening right now? Just out of curiosity.
Well, our mystery listeners, sign in, please.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe this was the wrong time to go live. Apparently, there's a press conference going on right now, or possibly multiple, regarding the Red Death.
Well, there seem to be a lot of them going on, and that makes a lot of sense.
Well, that's great, ADMW, because you get 12 rolls of premium two-ply toilet paper to wipe your ass with or sneeze the plague into.
Last I heard, Marvel is printing a lot of toilet paper right now.
Yeah, I would recommend for a lot of you out there, if you're worried about what you're going to wipe your ass with, there is this title coming out from Marvel called New Warriors. And let me tell you, it's not worth reading. It might be a little pricey, but it is perfect for your ass.
Yes, it's superhero printed toilet paper that you don't feel bad shitting on.
Yes, right in your ass and down the toilet. That is exactly what this thing's worth. But anyway, yes, we had a subject recommended to us by Elton that... we had a subject recommended to us by Elton regarding sex appeal and violence. And, this can go in a lot of different directions. I do think that this is partially inspired by Elton's own book. Go ahead and if you got a link for that, Elton, here, I'll give you a wrench so you can share it. But let's just say that
he has a wrench.
Oh, he already has a wrench. Okay. Yes. Go ahead and share that. But there definitely is a connection there in his own book, what he's doing.
So he's got beautiful women kicking ass?
Yes, exactly.
That is always something I can get behind.
But yes, there definitely is something about attractive women pounding the crap out of people. The warrior woman. And then also the blurring of sex and violence. Like I said, this is a huge subject. It can go all over the place. But I think just for examples, we can look back to, what was it? Well, there's Athena, first of all, warrior goddess. She's goddess of both knowledge and war.
Righteous war. You have to be specific about that. Because Ares is just war for war's sake.
And... oh God, the precursor to ISIS. What's her name?
Well, that's getting kind of. What do you mean? Are you talking? Do you mean
Ishtar?
Ishtar.
Which was similar. She was both seductive and female rage, but also war.
Well, as far as Egyptian goes, then there's Sekhmet, and Egyptian mythology is kind of a mishmash where it's a bunch of cults and everything's canon, but you have Sekhmet.
You mean like the DCU?
Worse than.
There's a bunch of cults, and there's a bunch of mishmash timelines and continuities, and they're all canon.
Oh, after Crisis? Yes, actually, yes. The Egyptian mythology was the first Crisis.
Holy shit, I think you've got a book there. That's an entire field study. The original Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I think Black Adam should show up and say something about that. I was like, yeah, I lived through this before.
You've already thought of a better story for Black Adam than what they're printing right now.
Yeah, with ISIS.
But go on, talk about Egyptian mythology.
But no, you have Sekhmet, who is this fiery goddess who every time she's unleashed upon the world, she rains death and destruction everywhere she goes. but in one version, her kinder, gentler aspect is Bast, of course, the goddess of pleasure and delight.
And Sekhmet is what, a lion-headed goddess, right?
Correct.
And didn't you say that when Sekhmet goes into her berserker rage of death and destruction, it's orgasmic to her?
Yes.
She like gets off on it. It's not just...
She gets off on it and she can't stop.
Like American God, says ADMW. You know, I've never read or seen it.
No.
I'm sorry. So, yes, I mean, this is as old as I think the human psyche is. There's some blurring between sex appeal and violence. And we've seen it take different forms. I would say, you know, in the 90s in comics, we saw kind of the elevation of the barbed wire type character, you know, these very busty, curvaceous women in tight leather and toting guns.
Well, I would also like to say that, you know, don't discount.
Yes, Durga and Kali.
Yes, indeed.
Kali fucks corpses and gives birth to dead babies.
Yes. But I'm also going to say, don't discount, you know, the sex appeal of, you know, the raw, unchained male, you know, just suing the shit out of his enemies. I mean, Conan is fucking boner-tastic. You know, he definitely gets my lady boner right there.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's a female equivalent. I think part of the problem is that women will talk about that amongst themselves in whispers.
I'll talk about it publicly.
That's why you're here, honey. That is why you're here. See, usually it's only men who are very willing to openly, you know, say, hell, check out the tits on that chick with the sword. She can hit me.
Like, no, I will say flat out, you know, which men are boner-tastic to me, and they usually all are violent people in one form or another.
Well, list them out, okay.
You want me to list them out?
List a few, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Conan the Barbarian. Yes, to a certain extent, Leon the Professional. There's something about that rugged, tragic look of the middle-aged man who has seen everything and been everywhere and will kick your ass 10 ways. That is pretty damn hot. Let's see. Oh, I am totally...
certain versions of the Batman.
Yeah, certain versions of Batman. Definitely certain version of Batman.
Was Aragorn...
No.
Too emo? I mean, you liked the actor's look.
Oh, I like Vigo. Yeah,
Viggo Mortensen, I know, kind of did it for you. You didn't like the character.
Yeah, Vigo is hot, but no, I'm not really into Aragorn.
Did you like him better as Satan?
Yes.
Or Lucifer?
Yes. Yeah, him as Lucifer, totally. God.
And he was a good Lucifer.
He was great as Lucifer. He played Lucifer in the movie Prophecy. If you haven't seen Prophecy, do yourself a favor. Look it up tonight or tomorrow. You know, you're stuck at home. You have nothing better to do. You have Christopher Walken, Viggo Mortensen, and why am I blanking on his name? Oh, God damn it. He played Dracula. He was in Fifth Element.
Gary Oldman?
Yes, Gary Oldman. Thank you. Gary Oldman's in it too. You do yourself a favor. See that film.
So, you know, I think this is really good because this could have very easily just gone down the route of conversations like wonderful characters like Red Sonja and attractive women that we all really like. But it's good that we're getting the male aspect here from you.
Oh, I think especially nowadays with all this woke shit where, you know, not only is it important to bring up, I hate using the term, but it's the best thing I can say, female characters that are actually characters that are well developed, you know, actually thought out reasons why people continue to hold them up as heroes today. But it's extremely important to recognize that men are hot and attractive when they are killing things. I mean, it's fucking sexy. And I defy any female to say she doesn't find at least one man attractive when he's kicking somebody's ass. Seriously.
Yeah, that is very true. There is always the certain rush of that
Mhm.
that I see in a woman's eyes. Their eyes get dilated. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that dilation look, and yeah, you can't really hide that.
Bullet Tooth Tony.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, that was the ex-rugby player,
Yeah, I can't remember what the actor's name is. It's just Bullet Tooth Tony.
Bullet Tooth Tony. Yeah. So, well, I don't know. We're only 10 minutes in. I think we're going down this direction a little too quick, but somebody in the chat brought it up.
Okay. Is the title card a scene from Dorohedoro?
And that is where we were going with this, or at least I had planned to eventually take it. I did want to cover a little more about the past and how these images have always been with us. I mean, another great one is the Valkyries.
Mhm.
The Amazons of old. I mean, the real Amazons, I'm sorry to ruin it for you, but the real Amazons were most likely just really, really unattractive dykes. They were raiders who never won a battle. They mostly won by jumping people on the side of the road and luring off. The few battles that they did participate in, they got wiped out. But the myth of the Amazon, even though Amazon literally means killer of men, the myth of the Amazon were these gorgeous women who were warriors, Themyscira.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, again, that resonates with something. What does that tap into? Or, even me as a kid seeing Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. I mean, she wasn't necessarily violent per se. I mean, actually, she was that show was pretty tame. I mean, we understand very easily, what is it? Women liking the protective instinct from a man. That's immediately something women look for.
Yes, instinctually, yes, that is something that is there, and it is inescapable.
And that's one of the reasons a guy who can kick another guy's ass is a turn on. He's like, well, he can protect me. There's a reason women.
Well,
look at all the women who like pro wrestling.
Well, no, in Greece, only unmarried women could go watch wrestling. If you were a married woman, you couldn't, because they feared how much it turned the women on, and they really didn't want the married women comparing their husbands to these virile athletes that they see. So they'd only the unmarried women could go watch wrestling.
And you notice the moment they added a soap opera element to pro wrestling, female viewers went through the roof. And they added that because they realized, wait a minute, we have female viewers. That is why they originally started adding that in the early 2000s. And I could be a little wrong on the pacing of that or the exact circumstances.
I thought it was the 90s.
Was it the 90s?
It was the 90s because they were adding that soap opera element to it when I was still in high school.
But yeah, I had coworkers back in college when I was working at Kinko's who, this girl, little tiny girl, you would have never thought she was into wrestling, obsessed with it. And she was, hey, it's Friday. What are you doing? The Rock's on TV. The Rock's going to be in the main event.
I think that's mainly why she was watching.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly why she was watching. She got to see The Rock get all sweaty and throw people around and act like an arrogant dick. I mean,
hey,
but the title card has a scene from Dorohedoro.
One of my absolute favorite mangas of all time. I love Dorohedoro. And
I believe this also ties into Elton Borges's comic as well, is that there was always a body type that I think men had an attraction to, but it was somewhat not allowed, or it was looked down upon, or often was kind of considered a little too taboo. But I don't know, in recent years, and I would add say this is probably the internet's doing, women like Noi from Dorohedoro.
Well, I'd like for you to clarify, when you say that it's taboo, what era and what culture are you talking?
I would say back in the 80s, there definitely was that fetish, and we saw that beginning to take shape. But if you were a little too vocal about, liking to see a busty, ripped woman, guys will start, oh, are you a fag? And you also remember in the 90s where, geez, the new agey sensitive bullshit and every girl was starving herself.
See, that's an interesting perspective because for me, the 80s was the whole fitness craze.
Oh, it was fine to like a fit woman, someone who's
Mhm.
toned, but a woman like Noi was a little too much.
Well, that was the thing is it was all about cardio. It was not about weightlifting at all in any way, shape, or form. Or if you did, it was simply so that you were burning more calories. It was not to actually get muscle mass. And then I remember in the 90s, everything was all about what you can do, right now, getting results right this very second, not building towards it, not actually like striving for any permanence. And weightlifting actually, from my memories, was something that women would do because again, it would instantly melt away the fat, or it would fill out where you had patagia on your arms.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that something happened in the bodybuilding world where in the 80s, the look was to still have feminine curves and to be beautiful. I mean, now it's kind of this weird anatomy chart look where they just kind of look like dehydrated sacks of skin pulled over muscle.
It's funny you say that because when I was in art class or art school, they would give us, pictures of body parts, and it was, finally sculpt muscles to draw off of. And finally, somebody asked, what book of, muscle men can I find these pictures in? It's like, oh, don't draw men, draw women. Don't draw men if you want to actually learn the anatomy, because the way men bulk up is different than the way women bulk up. So if you're learning anatomy, draw female bodybuilders instead. That's what all those pictures are from. So I thought that was interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, I suppose another good example would be She-Hulk, for instance. And let me set this up on screen. Now, you can correct me if anyone's a hardcore fan out there who knows better than I do. But from what I understand, John Byrne based She-Hulk, or the way that he had She-Hulk, based on...
1 second, folks.
Yeah. Bodybuilder Corey Everson.
I believe you are right.
And I think there was even talk at one point of casting her in a movie in the 80s as She-Hulk. But again, that look, I suppose in the 80s it started to kind of become accepted. Things got bizarre in the 90s, but we did have Xena.
We did have Xena.
And now it's suddenly most, if you find Noi attractive in Doro Hidoru, nobody really thinks much of it.
Noi is fucking hot.
Well, okay, you're a female. What does that do for you? We were joking at one point about robot bodies, and you'd flat out said that no, that's the one I'd get.
Yeah,
I'd get that shell.
I want that 6'5" Amazon body. I suppose the female equivalent to Bateau.
She's a little more than Bateau.
She is, but you get the idea. Yes, I totally want to be a female tank. I am not delicate. I am
but
not,
with giant knockers.
Like with giant knockers like Noi's knockers, because Noi has some big ones.
I don't know. I'm looking at the animated one here, and they kind of scaled her back. I'm a bit disappointed.
I'm not talking. I haven't seen the anime other than the samples that we've seen. I'm going off of those.
These monsters?
Those monsters, yes. And how she's incredibly muscular, but still extremely feminine. And I find that very hot and very attractive. And I totally would have that body.
Okay, so what's the appeal?
What's the appeal?
Yeah.
Well, again, she's still female. She's still sexy. She doesn't look like she takes massive amounts of testosterone, which unfortunately a lot of female bodybuilders do. And I find muscles very hot and sexy. And quite frankly, if I had the time and the funds to be able to devote 4 hours a day
It'd be a
to
little more than 4 hours, honey.
4 or 5 hours, or more to getting that body, I totally would. But since I don't, I'm going to have to settle for a robot body when they finally make them.
You'll just have to settle for the healthy body you have with big cans.
Yes, exactly. And
you could settle for worse, right?
Yeah, and art pieces like my avatar. I can look at that and I can dream.
So, oh well, I had a few theories on where this comes from, and one of the things I kept getting, and I wonder if this might have something to do with the media of the 80s and 90s, and that is through the 80s and 90s, we started getting tough females that were well portrayed. We had, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley in Aliens, Sarah Connor in T2, with Red Sonja, of course. We had, there are others that I could come to mind. Those are the ones off the top of my head that really everyone thinks of. I don't count Mila Jovovich.
No.
She's healthy, but she's a stick.
Yeah, she's not muscular.
She's a little boyish to me. I always kind of was disturbed by how boyish she looked. Even Linda Carter. I mean, very fit, very curvaceous. But in each case, we're seeing characters that are rounded, believable characters. Well, maybe not Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. She was kind of an ideal. But these women were strong. They were capable. They were believable characters. They were interesting. And I think as young men, we were constantly being hit with this message of, look up to these women, and why wouldn't we? Seriously, why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And then we were in the world and realized they don't exist for the most part.
Well, they're not somebody you would necessarily, meet on the street.
Yeah. I remember talking with other people in college saying, yeah, we kept getting told that these women existed, and I only meet train wrecks in college. And I think there definitely is an attraction toward a person who can ride both ends, or ride the line of both, of being strong and capable, yet highly feminine.
Well, for my point of view, if you have a man, that comes already with a lot of built-in tropes when you're watching a movie, a TV show, reading a book. So that gives you room to put on actual character for this person, however much the creator decides to put on. But that's when you can put on character. Who is he? Where does he come from? What are his motivations? What's his personality? Oh my God. If he has one. And sometimes it's paper thin and sometimes it's well developed, but just by simply stating this character is male, you already have told the audience a bunch of things about him, especially if he's going to be your protagonist. And so, like I said, you can build character, you can have depth, you can have, oh my God, flaws, and it's okay. Especially nowadays, you know a lot about a woman by how she looks. And then from there, how she looks determines her personality and how she is going to be depicted. And
I would say that even reflects in real life to a degree. I mean, we were always told looks don't matter, but as life experiences, I think, taught most of us as we grow older, bullshit. Bullshit, looks don't matter. That is so not true. A person who is 400 pounds and doesn't bathe and dresses like a rummage sale is obviously someone who has no self-respect.
And what I was going to say is, when you have a woman who is fit, specifically if she has muscles, just looking at her, that now tells you that this is dare I say it, a strong, capable person and a good writer, now doesn't need to tell the audience that stuff. Now has the freedom to build a personality, to give her flaws, to actually build her up as an actual character. So it's a visual cue immediately of what type of female you are going to be dealing with. Now, could she be a bitch? Is she nice? You don't know. That's part of personality, and that's part of character building and character flaws, not something that's shoved in your face constantly. And that's a big problem, is that a lot of writers don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's just
they still have forgotten that you still need to have a character. So like you said, you can have a 400-pound tub of lard who doesn't bathe. Okay, that now tells me something about this person. What's the personality behind that? Like, and they don't do that. They still then continually try to tell you that this person is strong and brave, and that you should respect them. It's like, well, why? You've given me absolutely nothing other than the fact that they look like garbage.
Okay, so I'm going to pop up. I'm going to ask Elton a question since he suggested this. And again, he does a book that definitely portrays some very nice looking muscular ladies. Can you explain your attraction? I mean, you requested the topic. What is the appeal to you? What is this tapping into in your subconscious?
We're calling you out, Elton.
In the meantime, the great Pop Tart says, look up magic morsels, please, please, please. Do you mean, is this something on Google I need to Google? And this better not fucking be porn.
Well,
we've already said coronavirus, which is going to already get this video probably censored to hell.
Demonetized.
China virus, Wuhan virus. There. Virus. Suck it, YouTube.
Oh, everything leads to porn. Everything is always going to lead to porn.
If we could stream elsewhere, maybe I wouldn't care, but...
Oh, does BitChute not let you do it there?
I don't know how to stream through BitChute, if that's even possible.
But let me see here.
All right. This person... Oh, Elton says to you...
Yeah. When Oscar can make you a bulky avatar for sure. He already worked in one of my girls and did a great job. Actually, my avatar is muscular. So, she is quite muscle bound, and damn, I wish I had her body. I am nowhere near that muscular, but that is the magic of artwork and the internet.
You're toned, though.
I am toned. And I keep fit, and that is the important thing.
Okay, well, another one, yeah.
Anyone mention Vasquez from Alien? Yeah, Vasquez was hot.
She had big cans.
Yeah.
Actually, interestingly enough, Jeannie Goldsmith, yes, a Jewish woman played a Mexican.
And that story in Aliens about her showing up looking like an illegal is true.
Yeah, she thought that the open call for a film called Aliens was about illegal aliens crossing the border. So she showed up with her face browned up some and dressed up like someone who had crossed the border.
Hey, I got her the role.
These days it probably would have killed her career.
Possibly, yeah.
But ironically, Jeannie Goldsmith, now that she is retired from acting for the most part, has a store on, what is it, Hollywood Boulevard?
She has 3, actually.
3, huh?
She has one on Hollywood Boulevard, one in Santa Monica, which we attempted to track down, but it was closed the day that we went. And then she had a 3rd one in downtown LA. Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, she started the store. It's specifically lingerie and bras for large-breasted women because she was sick about the fact that she could not buy a bra in Hollywood. It was out of her own frustration that Hollywood did not make bras for women who are shaped like her.
And they still don't. She's the only one.
Oh, Black Lagoon. You want to comment on that? You
watch Black Lagoon. Oh, Remy.
You have a bit of a love for that character.
I love Remy. I love all of Black Lagoon. Okay, I take it back. I've only seen half of the series so far. I haven't seen is it Black Lagoon Blue? I haven't seen that yet. But oh god, yeah, Remy's hot. Yeah. Wears teeny tiny Daisy Dukes and has two, what she got? 45s? I think they're 45s. Yeah, Remy's hot.
Okay, Pop Tart. I hope this is what you're asking for. This is Magic Muscles on DeviantArt. What do we want to know about this other than this is definitely a ripped woman? Any comments, Kat?
Um,
I think it's a little overkill for us. I mean, that's a little too much for us, dude. No offense, everybody. You like what you like, but I think I think scale that muscle back a bit. That's.
I mean, I can definitely see the appeal. I can most definitely see the appeal. Especially that one where she's lifting a rock. And the angry cat girl in the other one.
Let's see. It's a shame this is blurry, but yeah, anything past that figure down there that I'm showing now, anything beyond that's too much for me, unfortunately.
I just see these three girls and it makes me think, man, Totally Spies would have been a lot more entertaining if the girls looked like that.
Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah. Okay. I like this.
Well, here you go.
Yeah.
How about that image?
Well, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm pointing at the one where the girl is choking the guy between her massive muscles and tits.
So, okay, let's go back. Let's remove that. So, aside from wanting me to show that, was it Pop-Tart?
Yeah, it was Pop-Tart.
What do you have to say about that? Okay, so in the meantime,
I guess what attracts me is the fact that it connects to real power. Once I saw those, sorry, it's been a long day for me, so my reading ability is shite. Once I saw those first images of muscular females when I was younger, I was hooked by the visual power they had. That's a good age to be exposed to images like that. Get exposed to nice, beautiful, muscular women. That's good. Was it, how exactly were you exposed to images of muscular women? Was it your parents? Seriously.
Was it seeing Corey Everson? Was it, what was it? These She-Hulk's appearance on the Spider-Man and Friends Hour? Was it?
I know for a lot of people, that's where they
It was when She-Hulk appeared on Spider-Man and Friends?
Yeah, it's She-Hulk, yeah.
Was it Giganta from the Super Friends? Was
Well, there's one. Well, I think that's where a lot of people get that fetish from. Either that or Allison Hayes.
Actually, Elton, I've seen Jebrito's work. I actually like his. The way that he does it, we're talking about a specific artist on DeviantArt who does draw extremely bulky women. The thing about his work is he seems to still know how to put body fat on, so they look thick. They don't look like...
like Cho. Crap, what's
a Frank Cho?
Yeah, Frank
No,
Cho.
not like Frank Cho.
Not like Frank Cho.
No. These women are really bulky, but they're shapely.
Oh.
You've seen the art. You liked it.
Oh, okay.
Another fun comment here.
Boobs in action, killer combo that's worked forever. Indeed. Well, that made my night, and I'm an odd man. Oh, good, Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart, are you just a fan of Magic Muscles, or are you the artist? I'm curious. Meanwhile, Corvo, Sailor Moon saved my marriage. Well, I don't recall her being ripped, but she's a great character, and what a way to save a marriage.
I'm just reminded of one of the villains when they were introducing the Sailor Stars, who was it? They took two balls that looked like they were cue balls, swallowed them, they went into their tits, and then they pounded their chest, and it popped back out of their mouth as a cannonball, and they fired that. And that was the attack ability.
I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing for that comment.
Sailor Moon had probably the most amazing monster designs when I was a child. Yes, I loved Sailor Moon for various reasons, but one of them was the monster designs every week.
Okay. This has nothing to do with the chat. It's just, or the episode. This is just too good not to share.
A girl named Mindy in kindergarten showed me I was into females. I gave her all my crayons and she gave me a cookie. That's such a sweet story. Do you still know Mindy? You know me, I ran with the boys and we'd beat each other up.
Okay, so for a few of the other characters that can fit into that build, if drawn by the right artist that you really like, first there's the one you relate to, Power Girl, and then Big Barda.
Yeah. Oh, talk about that?
Yeah. Look, I could talk about it and what I thought of these, of why there's an attraction to these things, but I think on some level, Elton's kind of already kind of explained a lot of it. I've said quite a bit, but you're female and you're one of the rare females that'll honestly just talk about this.
Can't I look at muscular men?
We can do that too.
Okay. No, okay. I'm teasing.
Look, there's a bunch of guys in the chat here. I mean, do you think they want to see Aragorn's dong?
I don't want to see Aragorn's dong, no. But, okay. Power Girl and Barda. Why do they appeal to me?
Yeah, what's the attraction?
What's the attraction?
I mean, again, I can explain my attraction.
Well,
but
I told you. You look at them visually and you can see that they are physically strong women. They hold their heads high. They have amazing posture. And they have such confidence just in their stance. Right there, it just tells you that they are capable people. And then, so that's what I want, is I want people to look at me and say, that is a capable, strong person, who can take care of herself. And then after that, it's now you have the freedom to build on the personality, the character, give them flaws. And for both Barda and Power Girl, I relate to both of them for both their strengths and their flaws. Barda for the fact that she, short fuse is an understatement. Sometimes she'll just, if you look at her the wrong way, she'll fucking kick your ass. Constantly it's her husband who's the calming influence in that relationship. And Power Girl, at least with Jeff Johns' run.
Is there any reality or any reason you would relate to the male being a calming influence in that relationship?
You know how many times you have to calm me down, or like I'll get home from work and you just have to like sit me down and tell me to just not do anything.
Okay.
Otherwise I'm going to hurt something.
Okay, fun story since we always end up telling more about ourselves than you ever really want to know. Everyone thinks Kat's the nice one.
I'm very good at pretending.
Everybody thinks Kat's the sweet, nice one and the approachable one. And maybe she is the approachable one. I admit I'm not the most approachable person, but I'm the nice one.
You're the constant one. I am very good at putting on the smile and acting friendly and nice. I'm like Dalton, I can be nice until it's time not to be nice, but sometimes I choose not to be nice when it's not time.
So we were at a convention, was this Ape Expo in San Francisco one year.
Oh, shit. Okay, I know what story you're going to tell.
And this was primarily an indie crowd and a lot of hipsters, and it was in San Francisco. We only did this show because it made us a lot of money. I mean, honestly, the vibe there wasn't great. Again, lots of hipsters with the weird facial hair and, was it problem glasses and blue hair?
Yeah.
And there was this guy next to us, and it was this really big, overweight black guy who I swear you would have thought he was homeless. There was something wrong with this guy. And he would sit there just mumbling to himself, selling these ridiculously badly drawn pornographic comics.
Yeah.
And nobody would buy any of his books. And he'd just sit there all day with a bucket of chicken and a giant big gulp. It was a super big gulp.
It was the super big gulp.
And you could smell the food. And
that was the thing. He was like stockpiling his food. He wouldn't take it back to wherever he was staying. There was no refrigerator. It was just there, and every day he came with new stuff, so it was rotting.
It was piling up. Yeah, day 2, the same bucket of chicken under the table.
And this show was it 3 days?
Yeah, it was a 3-day.
Yeah.
So day 2, a bucket of chicken that had been rotting. By day 3, it was awful. And, you know, he'd kept giving the weird side eyes and staring at Kat, you know. He definitely could not remove his eyes from Kat's cleavage. And, you know, typically Kat's a very good sport about that. I mean, it's there. She doesn't care, you know?
Well, as I say, if I didn't expect you to look, I wouldn't wear cleavage revealing tops.
If it pissed you off, you'd wear a different shirt.
Exactly.
And when you don't want to be noticed, you do wear a different shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy was just being a dick. And was it day 3? We get in, and this jackass comes up to Kat and flat out says that he went through our cash box.
Yeah. That he went through the cash box, and he like hands me 50 cents and he says that was in there. It's like, what the fuck are you doing in my cash box?
Now the cash box didn't have any paper money in it.
No.
Kat had stashed that away. But
I'd taken it back with us.
But she had left a few quarters and some pennies and dimes, some change in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy had ripped it off and gave her 2 quarters back.
Yeah.
Claiming somebody had stolen the rest.
No, he just came up and said, "You left these in the box. You know, somebody could steal them."
Now, I forget, what was the chain of events where you finally had enough? You leaped over the table and went for his throat.
Oh, what happened? What it was, you know, the doors had just opened up when he had decided to do this. And there was actually a flood of people coming in because it's the last day of the show. And this was still in the days where the last day was when people are clearing out their stuff so you can get some really good deals. So we actually had some pretty good customers that I immediately had to get to. So I was helping the customers. And when things finally wound down, I turned to him and I said, "Look, I really don't appreciate, I tried to be nice. Again, I'm fucking Dalton. I'm nice until it's time not to be nice. I said, I don't appreciate that you went through my cash box. You had no reason to do that." And he was sitting down eating his goddamn chicken at the time I did that. And he did the stand up, I am taller than you. And he was like 6'2", 6'3".
He bulked his shoulders out.
Yeah, bulked his shoulders out. And he bellowed at me, full on bellowed at me. "I was trying to do a good thing. How dare you get mad at me?" And I didn't.
You forgot he also called you a dumb bitch.
Did he? Well, that when he called me a dumb bitch.
Oh, you keep going.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I'll be honest, I don't remember what the exact words that happened, because I just remembered I planted my feet and I wasn't going to fucking move. And I stared him straight in the eye and I yelled at him back, and I matched him decibel for decibel. And it was obvious he was baffled why I wasn't backing down.
Well, your fists were up and you were.
Yeah. I had my fists balled and his were balled, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to tussle with this guy. And finally, security came over and escorted him out. And then about half an hour later, he came back and sat down and didn't say anything to me. But all for the rest of the show, I had people come over to me, other exhibitors, thanking me for standing up to him, because apparently when he would go on his breaks, he would go around and bully everybody at the show.
And the thing is I didn't get to see most of this because I was on the other side of the hall, talking to, was it an interview or was it somebody wanted to buy a bunch of our books? I forget which.
I think it was an interview. I think.
So I'm coming back to the table, and my wife has hopped over the table. Her feet are planted. Her fists are up. She's screaming at this guy.
Yeah, I don't remember hopping over, but apparently I did.
You full on jumped, hand plant and went over the table. You've got your breathing heavy. Your nostrils are flaring.
What were we talking about on Tuesday about Irish rage?
Yeah, you had that crazy eyes thing going, where your eyes were fully dilated. And I don't know if you recall this. You said you were seeing red.
Okay, so it's another time I was seeing red, and I don't remember because, like I said, I don't remember this fight. The last thing I remember is him standing up and me going, "Okay, I gotta plant my feet and stand firm."
I come around the corner and you're screaming at this guy.
Oh man!
And he waited for me to leave. Remember? You had pointed out he waited for me to leave before he gave you shit.
Yeah. But yeah, because you had to go to your thing, and it, like I said, it was right when the doors opened that he originally confronted me. So yeah.
So yeah, Kat's really not the nice one. She really isn't. Don't piss her off. Okay.
In media, the two first representations of stronger females that got me hooked was Motoko Kusanagi, the famous tank scene, and Shiva from. Oh, I should know what MK
Mortal
is.
Kombat.
Oh, Mortal Kombat. Thank you. Later, I saw Bangus designs from Capcom's games too.
Don't know Bangus, but I believe that tank scene stuck with a lot of young men.
I know you talked at length about the tank scene.
You know, the thing is, though, that wasn't. I don't know. I think by that point I was past the age of getting the weird sexual impressions. I think I was set in my ways by then. No, narratively speaking, we should do an entire show on Ghost in the Shell, just for film, because the tank scene stood out to me narratively speaking because of why it worked and why it was so important. I mean, it was a modern day interpretation of slaying the dragon.
Well, also, you explaining the tank scene was the first time I ever saw visual metaphors in a way that wasn't pretentious, or at least not that it was explained to me in a way that didn't sound like the cinema snob.
I've got to figure out a way to actually play movies while we talk, because I could run it clip by clip and point out the tree of life with the bullets going up it, her running behind the various columns, dodging, the parts where the music goes from the chime that indicates something's going on in her head to the chime you hear when something's changing, the soundtrack cues that have been going through the whole film, to where it goes from a Japanese choir and shifts over to a Western choir that sounds like something you'd hear in a church. That is an incredible scene, just how well it is put together. So that's way off topic. Let's not go there. That's for another night.
That's definitely for another night. All right. Dude, I'm really invested in you guys' stories. It's almost always funny or weird. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm weird. I never think that my stories are interesting. So to hear that they are entertaining people makes me smile.
No, I think where you got that impression was, one, your mom didn't like your stories. Because then she had to hear what her daughter did, and she never approved of how you weren't girly enough.
True.
Or you were in that high school age and you hadn't quite mastered storytelling.
Yeah, they would come off rambly.
You know how to weave a story now. I don't know if that's just from spending time with me or what, but you can weave together a narrative now if you need to tell someone something that happened.
Unless I'm tired, and then
Oh, that's fun in its own way.
Why? Because I get my sentence structure confused. I structure my sentences using a German structuring, not English structuring, when I get really tired. So he finds it funny. Okay. Anime Ass Trip says a buff girl is the perfect blend of feminine beauty and power. The idea of a girl strong enough to princess carry you is pretty good. Yes, a princess who can carry herself. I agree. What?
No, I think that was actually a very well explained. I was kind of curious how this show would go, and I'm glad that it's going over so well. I mean, we've only got 13 listeners, but obviously they are dedicated to the subject matter.
I love our listeners. Thank you all for spending this Thursday with us.
Oh, here's another fun one.
Kat is a berserker of the gang. Yes, I am. I am the berserker of the gang. I never played berserkers when I played D&D, but
what did you play?
Really? I tended to play not rangers. Okay, yeah, I did play rangers, but I tended to play thieves. And Yes, I did play a fucking cleric. I usually don't. I am not the fucking white mage, and my cleric was not the fucking white mage. My cleric might as well have been a necromancer, quite frankly. It was just we already had 2 mages in the group, and I thought that it would be front loading if we had a third. I miss classic She-Hulk. I do too, Editorial 100.
Well, since people like the stories, what was another instance in which you nearly beat somebody up and I had to calm the situation?
I have a feeling you remember more of them than I do. I just remember the time in high school where I nearly killed one of my friends because he decided to pull a prank on me and steal my sunglasses. And let me tell you, when you're part of the Trenchcoat Mafia and you have your sunglasses and it's a summer day and your friend steals your glasses, you become murderous by the end of 4th period. So, and I'm not kidding. I blanked out, and when I came to, I had my fingers wrapped around his throat, and he was up against the wall and literally choking to death. So he didn't do that again.
So I suppose looping back into the main subject.
Yes.
Violence and sex appeal.
Sex appeal.
Somebody had pointed out very early on that those 2 circuits in our brain are crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's kind of like how pleasure and pain are actually received by the same part of the brain.
And I'm sure that there is some sort of evolutionary imperative that ties into that, why that is. There, oh yeah, we've already gone down that path, K-Blonde.
Oh yeah, Noi. Noi is fucking hot. I want Noi's body in many ways.
But while I'm sure that there's plenty of writings about why there is the evolutionary imperative to cross violence and sex,
mm-hmm.
and the confusion, I really couldn't answer that. I don't really have the science on that, but I can say that the ways that it keeps repeatedly showing up in our mythology, our stories, the things we desire, that is very visible and easy to put your finger on, easy to cite. I do find it interesting, though, and again, I want your take on that. We had mentioned at the beginning, the 90s bad girl, barbed wire, these very sexy looking, porn star-esque looking women, with guns or swords, versus what we've been discussing, where we were talking about women with kind of the brick, thick muscles, thick curves, big boobs and muscles attraction that we're seeing more and more of.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that taps into 2 different things?
I'm sorry, please restate your question.
Noi versus barbed wire. Do you think that taps into different parts of the brain or different parts of our psyche? I don't think they represent the same thing.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna shotgun out my thoughts because I have big thoughts on this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to structure them properly without saying them and working them out. I don't think that you can really fairly put it in those terms. Because as we've said, sex and violence go hand in hand, and a person, whether they be male or female, who is in any way at all physically attractive, that has the attributes that tells the brain this person is attractive, seeing that person kicking major ass is going to turn you on no matter what. And then after that, it's just, personal preferences or what you've grown up thinking is sexually appealing. Be it a skinny person like Amelia Jovovich, or a brick like Noi from Dorohedoro, as long as they still look female or attractive, and I know you don't believe that Milla Jovovich.
I don't think she looks all that female. I think she looks like a 13-year-old boy.
I think in some films she looks female. It really all depends on what she's wearing. Her wearing the gaffer tape in Fifth Element really did not help her physique any. But in other films, I thought she was okay. But as long as the brain still registers this is male, this is female, you're going to find that hot.
Do you think that our interest in werewolves and vampires also taps that same thing, that same part of the brain?
Yeah, I do actually. It's the werewolves and vampires both are extreme depictions of various forms of sexuality, specifically predatory sexuality. They are both predators. They are both, one is very primal.
The other is very cunning.
Well, it's not just cunning.
He's the seductive.
Exactly. The seducer, the one who plays the game, the one who drags it out and pulls you under slowly, where the werewolf is the hot, passionate one.
Jump on you and have his way.
Exactly. So it's really, and what I was saying before, you look at them visually and that tells you immediately instant information about this character or this creature, and that then leaves you to put layers on them if you're a creator, you so choose to do so.
So another thing I'm going to bring up, and just to give a little backstory to the listeners, another show that we're thinking about doing is Good Book, Bad Book, in which we'll alternate between reading a good book and reviewing it chapter by chapter, and then purposely read a bad book so we can review it chapter by chapter. And we've been discussing for the first bad book to be a sci-fi romance novel. And I've been skimming some of these sci-fi romance novels to try and find one that would be particularly hilarious. And the one thing that I had actually brought this up to you, I think it was last week, I was shocked about these, is just how many stories featured a big buff savage man grabbing the woman against her will, slapping her over his knee, and spanking the shit out of her. Is that the same thing? Is that, again, sex and violence, do you think? Or is that taming?
I have heard it said that every woman has had at least once in her life a rape fantasy. And I agree with that 100%. And, so much so that I think that any woman who says that she never has is lying. So I do think that women enjoy not only violence, they like violence on their own to some extent. Yes, some women like it more than others. But a lot of women really like being roughed up in one way or another. So yes, I do think that they go hand in hand. Now, are all women into spanking? No. I for one am not. But yes, women like to be roughed up in some form, and I think that it's somewhere in our psyche. I think there's I'm sure our friend Buddy Lord could chime in on that, but it's been my experience that somewhere deep down, women like it rough in some capacity, and it's because violence and sex go hand in hand.
And I'd take it a step further to say the flip side being the attraction to muscular women or powerful women. I think that there's men who definitely appreciate a woman who has confidence and strength, be it metaphorical or physical, and possibly a woman who can I guess what, play rough and possibly even sometimes win.
Hmm. Well, I think there, you get into personality, again, not judging here. I'm just saying, because we're all different. We all have our different tastes. No judge.
Well, this show, we're kind of going into taboo territories that people don't want to talk about.
No, I'm just telling our
So
audience
go right
that,
ahead.
that if I misspeak, because I may do that, I'm just letting you all know I am not judging, because we're full of that shit right now in today's society, and it pisses me off. If you like, a women who, I'm going to go to the extreme, who can't take care of themselves, who are weaklings, who cry and scream and need a superhero to come and save them. That is 110% perfectly fine. And where, as far as the sex and violence part goes, is, it is perfectly fine to enjoy the idea of fighting for your lady, saving her or fighting for her, because she can't and she is not able to, and that is how you win her hand and other things. But then there are other, men who like a woman who is strong, who can take care of herself, who can stand next to him in a fight, and who can put up a fight, in the bedroom, and
Oh,
that
come on,
is
that's
good
fucking
too.
hot.
Oh, it is
That's
fucking
fucking
hot.
hot.
It is fucking hot. So, again, it's the whether you're fighting with your woman or for your woman, you still have sex and violence. It's that struggle to achieve the goal of getting really good pussy.
Well, good point. Very good point. I think also I lucked out with you in that despite the temper, you're very, very even keeled. Believe it or not. Yeah, I know you don't think you are.
I'm Dalton.
You're very even keeled. But I would say that that attraction that men have for a fiery or dangerous woman, the one who's going to slap him back, is probably why through our 20s we repeatedly get involved with crazy chicks, women who are fucking nuts. And I'll be honest, there is definitely something fun and enjoyable about that, but you just don't want to marry them. And you shouldn't stick around too long if it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
And if he starts coming to your door in the middle of the night and pounding on it, there's a problem.
I was never that person.
No. Like I said, you're even keeled. You're stable. I married you. But I think there's also. Oh, is there some good questions?
No, I was just asking. Was there one you looked like you were reading?
Why don't you skim these? I'm going to make a few comments.
Okay.
On the flip side, as well as men who like a strong woman who can hit him back, who can keep up or fight by his side, or possibly even win often. I mean, I'll admit there's definitely something attractive about a woman like, say, Power Girl, who she could snap you in half, but so what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's hot. I have met men who are more on the beta side, and this creeps me out. No offense if you guys are one of these guys. I've noticed there's also the ones who have the mommy thing. They want a woman who will take care of them, a woman who will defend them. And that can get a little weird.
But there again, you have the.
But I'm judging.
You have the sex and violence.
Yeah.
That instead of the woman needing to be protected and fought for, it's the guy who wants to be protected and fought for. And yeah, sure, if that's your thing, good for you. But going back to our talk again, it's hand in hand. It's you cannot be protected unless there's something that needs to be protected against, and that is always going to wind up in violence in some capacity. ADMW says evolutionary psychology explains how men are predisposed to women with smaller, reminding us of children. So I understand how that fetish got into existence.
Okay, interesting enough. Yeah,
no, that's true.
I realize this may sound a little odd coming from a guy who's happily married. Great Pop Tart. You say most men will die alone. Women can get some so easy. It's unbelievable. Let me put it this way: the vast majority of women overrate the value of their vagina, and most guys overrate the value of a woman's vagina. It's better to die alone than be miserable.
And quite frankly, I think there are a lot of women out there who are going to die alone because they didn't take the time to do things like bathe, wash their hair, or wear clothing that isn't something that says hefty on the side, and have menage a trois with Ben and Jerry's every night. And I am speaking 110% from personal experience. When I was younger, when Ishi met me, uh, I was fat. I had shit self-esteem. I was convinced that no man would ever touch me. So why the hell should I even try it when it's never going to happen? Now, luckily, I was wrong, and I put forth the effort to go lose the weight and get in shape and get toned. But no, there are a lot of women out there who don't put forth the effort, but who do think that they're going to get themselves a Fabio, get themselves a Vigo Morgenstein, and they're never going to land that dream boat. And
Well, I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds here, saying something you don't want said. But I know that when we first hooked up, you were baffled as to why someone like me would choose you.
I was.
You were like, you could get somebody else. Why would you choose me, the Goblin Girl?
Yeah.
And no, really, what it came down to is I could tell that there was someone underneath all that, and I was hoping that I could encourage her to find that. And it was not a done deal. We were together for a long time. There was no certainty that you were going to find that strength and become who you are, but you did.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely did.
So
I'm just glad I was right. I knew I was taking a risk.
And yes, there was violence, the good and bad, but
Oh, you never directed it at me. Just walls.
Yeah, just walls. My mom's house had
your mom's house.
A lot of holes in the walls. I am damn lucky I never hit a stud. Okay, so
you remember you almost broke your finger punching the shit out of the tree in the front yard?
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't at mom's house.
Yes.
No, that was at our.
You did one at her house too.
It was also the condo.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
well, you had enough restraint then to say, I'll have to pay for that if I put the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good one.
Okay, ADMV. Behavioral psychology is also noting to touch the subject of testing our sexual degrees.
Yeah, testing our limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and I think that it's perfectly healthy, especially in media. And you know what? That's probably why a lot of people in our age group are relatively well adjusted on that, because we all grew up watching anime. And let's face it, when you're in high school and you're seeing Wicked City for the first time, that's gonna have an impression.
Wicked City. Yeah.
Okay. Elton, Big Barda is married. Scot-free needs to escape her grip all night long.
Well, that's an interesting one you bring up, because I know that Big Barda was based on the looks of what's her name? Kazan, the actress.
Yeah.
And a bodybuilder. And that Jack Kirby had always said that was the woman his wife was under her skin.
Mm-hmm.
That was who she was inside. That was a physical representation of her strength. And what's interesting about their relationship, I'm talking now Barda and Scot-free, is that their relationship is constantly about her tying him up, strapping him down, putting him in death traps, putting him in peril, and him escaping. If that isn't BDSM, I don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah, well, God, they came from planet BDSM. Apocalypse is nothing but, sex and violence everywhere you look.
Yeah, actually, that's another one you could do a whole episode on. It's just the sexual subtext of Apocalypse.
Granny goodness.
Every one of those characters is an embodiment of either a good or bad kink.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very much so. Every single one of them. And anybody who says otherwise is lying or never read it. Fucking Tom King. Anyway.
Fuck Tom King. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else we can throw in here? I think we're wearing down. Are we wearing down? Bayonetta. She's nice.
Bayonetta is very nice. I like Bayonetta.
Okay.
I played the first game, but I didn't play the second one. Am I wrong, or did they get rid of the fact that her hair is her clothing? Because the little that I saw of Bayonetta 2, it seemed like that was something that they got rid of, which made me sad. I liked how, all sorts of fetish things you could do with the fact that she's got magical hair clothing.
All right. I think we're nearing the end of this. I think we covered this as much as we can. Oh, here. Okay.
Okay, so being a weeb is now considered being well-adjusted. What a time to be alive. Oh, to be mommied?
No, weeb. Nerdy white kids who are obsessed with anime.
I apologize. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm getting my my terminology confused. Yes, it does mean that.
No, you were thinking of simps. Yes. That's a little different.
I was thinking simps. No, yes, being a weeb means that you are well adjusted. Most definitely. Well, you can watch something like Demon City Shinjuku, or just any number of those violent animes that are out there, and either take them or leave them. You can enjoy them for what they are. You can sit there with your mouth agape and go, what the fuck did I just watch? And either way, you can watch it and you can leave it and not go, oh my God, I'm so offended. Oh my God, how dare he treat women like that? I mean, what the fuck?
Well, I vaguely remember a certain anime where a giant demon penis ate all the people in a hospital.
Which one's that one?
Overfiend.
Oh, Overfiend. Okay. Of course, Overfiend. Yes, Legend of Overfiend.
Elton, I don't even want to go. Furries disturb the shit out of me. Sorry for you who are furries. I can't do that. No.
And almost every one of them liked Thundercats.
No furries, thank you.
One interesting example of how muscular females started to get into the media to show power is how much Capcom started to show it on characters like Cammy and Chun-Li recently.
Oh, Chun-Li's legs in the 90s. Best damn legs around. All right. Well, let's close this down for the night. Thank you for an awesome topic, Elton. When your comic's ready, let us know. Maybe we can talk about that. But we will try and do these shows once and twice a week if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep you guys entertained while we're all locked up inside avoiding the Red Death.
Yes, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. And again, as we've said, we're probably going to be doing more casts more often because, well, we're all locked up right now.
And bored, need something to do? Go to Amazon.com and buy my books. Case File Arkham 1 and 2, Utopiates, a cyberpunk masterpiece, Titanium Rain, the audio drama that is about a fighter pilot in the future, and World War Kaiju, a Cold War that is fought with monsters, not missiles.
And if you like Lovecraftian mythos, check out Whispers from the Abyss, Volumes 1 and 2, the Lovecraftian anthologies that I edited. Ishii does have a story in the first volume, and they are wonderful reads, and they will help the time pass away. So thank you all very much for joining us this evening.
Stay well, have fun, don't die.
Good night.